by Green. Throws it back up top. James puts up the three. Oh, it's good! LeBron James from downtown.
Hello YouTube, welcome back to episode of 3 Guys on Mic. As always, my name is Jeremiah, joined by two lovely co-hosts here,
William,
Aaron.
and today we're going to talk about this NBA Western Conference and Eastern Conference Finals, right? As we all know, we're recording this on a Tuesday afternoon, minutes, right? About an hour, I'll give that.
Yeah.
About an hour after the Golden State Warriors went to Dallas and lost, right? Series is now 3-1, headed back to Golden State, and once again, another elimination game, right? William, I'm going to put you on the floor here.
Yeah.
Let you know your feelings. First, though, I wanted to let you know, it's an important stat, right? Not a lot of people know this. Now, the Dallas Mavericks are 3-0 in elimination games this playoffs. Let me hear your thoughts. What's going to happen in Game 5?
they go back to San Francisco and they lose.
So the series ends in Game 5.
Yeah, I don't think the Warriors allow it to go back to 6. I don't think the Warriors allow it to go back to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
They know how dangerous Dallas is on their home court, so they're not going to allow that. Warriors also have the more experience.
Sure.
I think they have the better all-around talent when it comes to the teams. But yeah, looking at it, we knew Dallas was most likely going to win this game. One, because it was a must-win, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
But also, you need to carry on that momentum if you want to have any little chance to advance. But looking at the series as an overall, I thought Dallas was in the driver's seat for a lot of these games. I think Game 3, they flat out outplayed the Warriors from wire to wire. Looking at Game 1, I think if Dallas makes, let's say, maybe even 15%, 20% more of the threes, it's a totally different game. I don't know if they win, but I certainly don't think it would be a blowout.
Uh-huh.
Looking at Game 2, that blown lead, just the inexperience of this overall Mavericks team just really costed them. But I think it's just a tale of the Warriors and the more experienced team, more talented team. But the Mavs are that up-and-coming team. They have probably the best player in the series. Looking at tonight, though, I think it was just an underwhelming performance from the Warriors. Curry only 20 points. Wiggins 13. Thompson 12. Green had 10 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds.
Yeah.
But really, you didn't get any guy to pop out on the screen. I think their defense as well has been kind of lackluster when it comes to defending the three for the Mavs. Pretty much all series. But yeah, I just think it's going to end in 5. I think the Warriors are a more experienced team. Mavs just need more help.
Okay, Lamar, before I pass it on to you, one more piece of advice. The Mavericks shot 20 of 42 from three-point range, right?
Yeah.
Almost 50%, right? I said this for one, that's the key to them winning this. If they're gonna win this series, is they're gonna have to shoot the lights out of the building each and every night, both away and home, right? Aaron, does this series end in 5?
I think it does. The polls we had, I had this one going to 5, and a lot of people are messaging me saying how crazy that was.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, the Mavs, the last 2 teams they faced, the Suns, I've only been in the conference finals about 1 time. I had a good run 1 year, right?
Uh-huh.
And then the Jazz, the first round, who are known as astronomically choking many playoff series and games. And the Mavs, they've gone their way in all those eliminations games. The threes are falling down. But the Warriors, they're probably one of the best teams at shooting the 3 and getting people with open shots at the 3 and defending it. But a lot of this stuff wasn't falling today. Curry was getting eaten up on the defensive end. And I don't expect that a lot to... they actually sat down a lot while that little mini comeback was going. And I actually thought they could have came back and swept the series, but it's up to Coach Kerr. He knows best. Like you said when we were watching, it's meaningless for them to come back in and get hurt. But yes, I think this series ends. The Warriors just too talented, too experienced. The coaching and just the fundamentals, the way they play basketball, I think it's perfect compared to what the Mavs have. And yes, like you said, they've been in the driver's seat a lot in this series, and a lot of people thought the Mavs are going to make it competitive. But yeah, they got a nice blowout today. But going back to San Francisco, I don't think the Warriors let it go to 6.
I'm going to keep mine sweet here. Yeah, I agree. The Warriors ended with a lot of momentum, right? With that comeback, right? They kind of got into a groove of things, heading back to Golden State. I'm not going to say there's not a part of me that wants Dallas to win, right? Because a big part of me wants them to win, right? I want it to be competitive. I'm rooting for Luka, the Serbian sniper, right? Moving on here, the Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, actually, wait. Before we move on, I want to get your guys' take, because there's been a lot of talk about the NBA playoffs being blowouts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at it, this Mavs team is kind of the picture-perfect reason why these games have been blowouts a lot. A lot of teams are kind of resorting to the 3 for the majority of their offense, right? And you look at the Mavs in Game 1, got blown out, right? The 3-point was horrible. But then you see on any given night they can make the 3, and right now they have 23s in tonight's game. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think is a thing that the Mavs should fix when it comes to their approach on offense?
That's easy to me.
Well, first and foremost, let's not forget this Golden State team lost by damn near 50 to the Grizzlies team, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these blowouts happen time in, time out, both in the Western Conference and in the Eastern Conference Finals. Aaron, you go?
Yeah, I think the main thing is just getting them a 2 next Luka. I mean, yeah, I know Jalen Brunson attacks the rim a lot, but he does.
A lot of
He's
dribble,
too small.
dribble
They need
penetration.
another wing, at least 6'6" plus, or a center who can just work inside. I mean, DeAndre Ayton's a free agent this year, and it's not like the Warriors have that big either. But Kevon Looney, I think he's arguably better than all
Big
the bigs
enough.
that the
He's big enough.
Big enough.
he's big
Yeah,
enough
yeah.
that the Mavs have, and it's not like they have a 1 or they have a 2 like with Clay. They have a 3 and a 4 in Draymond and Andrew Wiggins. I mean, Draymond was working in the paint a lot today in today's game, and I like to see when the Warriors, they know they're big enough to do it, and I just think the Mavs need that.
So
They
you
need
think
that
the
type of
overall
player.
structure of the Mavs team is what's holding them back?
Yes, it's just building that team all around shooters is eventually going to bite you in the behind. in the
Yeah,
eyes.
I agree. I think just it's too hard to stay consistent and to make or to rely on your 3 ball the entire time. So I do think they need more one-on-one players instead of just relying on getting a 3. But yeah, you want to move on to the next series, right?
I do. So, moving on here, as we all know, co-host William here is a Boston Celtics fan. As we all know, the Boston Celtics are in the Eastern Conference Finals. Series is tied 2-2. However, it is heading back to Miami, right? Jimmy Bean Buckets. I said I would say it. Jimmy Bean Buckets, the coffee connoisseur himself, playoff Jimmy, playoff Jay, is gonna close out this series in
Playoff Jay.
6. He's gonna close it out in 6, and tomorrow afternoon at 5:30, as we know, game tips off, right? 5:30 game tips off, and by about 8 p.m. we'll know. At 8 p.m., Deuce will know to pack his bags because they're going on a vacation to Cancun. They're gonna know.
You know it's not a best of 5, right?
No, I understand because he has to pack to get ready for the next week, okay? When they leave the next week, okay? I'll start here, actually. So, yes, I did take the Miami Heat in 6. I truly did take them. I took the Miami Heat in 6, and I believe, it still could happen, right? If all goes according to plan, Miami goes on this run, next 2 games, and they get back to the finals, right? Remember last time they were in the finals was the whole bubble, right? The whole Mickey Mouse ring, right? And we all know the infamous, the glorious, right? Photo of Jimmy Butler.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, on the sideline, just on the banner right there, just he just gave it everything he had, right? And I feel from that moment on how young that team was, the pieces they built around, the guys they brought back, the veterans, the rookies. I truly believe they have the perfect mix, right? The perfect mix of rookies, of veterans,
Undrafted players.
you can even say that too, undrafted players too, right? You have shooters, you have facilitators, you have guys that can dribble, penetrate, get in the paint, finish at the rim, dish it. Like, they're kind of like the Celtics, right? The Celtics are a complete team. So are the Miami Heat, okay? That's why the series is tied 2-2. However, I still give the edge to Miami. I'm not going to say they're going to be blowouts by any means. However, Game 5 at home, you have the momentum, right? It's a lot to ask for a team to go home on an elimination game and be able to play. Granted, they did it versus the Bucks. Granted, they did it versus the Bucks without Chris Middleton. You understand what I'm saying here? Kyle Lowry has come back. Kyle Lowry has returned. The thick man himself has returned. And I do believe that is going to be a factor. Kyle Lowry is a guy who has performed in the playoffs. He has won a ring in Toronto, and I believe he is bringing that here to Miami. Aaron, I'm moving on to you here. Does it end in 6?
No, I had originally it ending in 7.
Who wins the series?
Celtics in 7.
Oh!
Simply because I think they have better playmakers. I think they're more lengthy on the defensive side.
I'll give you that.
And I think I'd rather have... This might come as a shocker, but I think I'd rather have, as an energy guy, Al Horford over PJ Tucker. Because I've seen Al Horford take over games when it mattered. I've seen him go at a defensive player of the year. 2-time defensive player of the year.
Is PJ Tucker... What makes PJ Tucker the energy guy for Miami?
He's not the energy.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
He's not an energy guy.
No, Jimmy Butler's the energy guy. Tyler Hero's the energy guy.
I'll say they're 2 different players, but I do agree with Little Man though when it comes to who would you have that kind of vet. I would choose Al Horford over PJ.
If you were to phrase it like that, I would have took Al Horford. Yes.
Well, I mean, as an energy, well, they're both vets, so I mean, but
obviously they're both energy players, but they're not the energy players.
Yes.
But I get what you mean.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I'd rather take Al Horford simply because he could score better.
Yes.
All-star, obviously. But Jason Tatum, He'll have one off game, and then it's just the next game. It's totally different.
Mm.
And I don't think he'll have another off game two games in a row. I don't think that'll happen again.
It rarely happens. Yeah.
With Jimmy Butler, I still don't think he's fully healthy as people think he is. And
Yeah,
even with Kyle Lowry, I honestly don't think he's healthy either. But I mean, you can't play injuries into it. They're still out there playing. They're still out there fighting for a win. And with the Heat, I'm kind of upset at them for the way they've been using Duncan Robinson.
Or they haven't been using.
Using Duncan Robinson. I mean, Max Strus went 0 for 7, had probably one of the worst games of his life, and you were nowhere to be seen, Duncan Robinson. I'm so sorry. Even a key piece of the finals run, you have not been used right, and just the Heat. I don't know. I just don't trust them over the Boston Celtics and how good they've been playing defensively.
I mean, Game 4, Robinson did have 4 threes at the end. But it's like, it just sucks how it has to be.
Like, I don't want him to be
that
as a blowout. I want him to be that guy who's going to give me just the energy from 3, who's going to get us over the
10,
hump.
12 minutes.
If I'm in a shooting slump like they were 18-1, that's the guy I want.
Yeah, I think, I mean, a lot of people, they diagnose it to defensive issues, which I do agree with. I don't think you would want him out there against Tatum, Brown, Derek White, Al Horford, any of those guys. But the thing is like, at some point, you need to find some offense. Yeah, and again, Hero, it's like, I feel like at some point, you just need to feel you need some offense, and like how Maya said, 10, 12 minutes.
Yeah,
you don't need him out there.
Let me ask you this, Will. What's his series going to, and who's taking the series?
I'm not going to say who's taking the series. I do think...
Not confident in this team? Couldn't be me.
No, I'm not trying to
I'll die a biased fan.
Listen, what have you seen that makes you choose the Heat winning the series over Boston losing the series? Because have you seen all 4 games?
Yeah,
Miami
and I've seen the Heat without Kyle Lowry, and I've seen the Heat with Kyle Lowry.
They're 1-1 without Kyle Lowry. Or with Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, 100%.
Marcus Smart didn't play that.
Yeah, but you can't even count. See, the first few games. Okay, yeah, Marcus Smart, the whole COVID stuff. The first few games though, like that's shaking off the rust. We all know that, right? A guy misses an extended period of time. He has to come back fresh into the playoffs. Cut him some slack. Now he's coming back home.
I agree with what you're saying, but I think your argument when it comes to how deep the Miami Heat team is, why do they need to rely on Kyle Lowry? And if you look at it, we're not addressing it. Jimmy Butler has had 6 points in 2 back-to-back games, and I don't think it's because he's playing trash. I think his knee is an actual. It's a reason to be concerned.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at it, he missed the second half of Game 3. Then in Game 4, he rested a quarter and a half because it was a blowout out of hand. Just looking at it though, I think Jimmy Butler going back to Miami Game 5, I think he's gonna play a phenomenal. He's gonna have another maybe 35+ point game. But looking at this series overall, I think it's Boston's series to lose. I think that they are the better team by a long shot. I think Miami Heat is the best team that the Boston Celtics have faced his entire playoff run. They're the well-structured team, but I just think you look at the quarters, Boston has tied or won 13 quarters.
Okay, so here's one thing I'm going to say, right? So as we all know, the Phoenix Suns last year, right? For those of us that watched the finals last year, right? Watched them in the playoffs. You know, like guys like Jay Crowder, Cameron Payne, right? Mikal Bridges, like watching the Suns play basketball, they were so good because they would just cancel out runs. You would get hot for 6 points and they would just hit a corner 3, right? And it just sucked the life out of the arena, right? And like it happens, and I hate Jay Crowder, right? But he did it every time. Right? And now when I watch this Boston Celtics team, right? I've watched them throughout the playoffs, right? Well, they are that team. I don't know if you guys realize, but teams will go on runs or they'll start to have momentum, and then Al Horford will just mouth you with a 3 in the corner, right?
I agree.
Or Marcus Smart, it will I've never been a big Marcus Smart guy, right? But maybe he's always been like this. You're a Boston Celtics fan, right? He's always been like that. He shoots the lights out for 3.
Past 3-4 years.
Yeah? Okay. Because like it's like I'll be like oh yeah, I'll give on to Marcus Smart, right? Like yeah, like kick you in the game, and he just mouths it, bro. And like that's how it happens time and time again. Even Jaylen Brown, right? Like he'll pull up and just mouth a contested 3, and it sucks the energy out of the arena.
Yeah.
And that's why like it's gonna be tough games, but I'm taking the Heat. Maybe it's a bias thing.
No, my thing is just that Boston Celtics, they've allowed 2 not horrible quarters. Catastrophic, like the worst quarters possible. 22-2 run in the third quarter of Game 1. Yeah. That's the reason why they lost that game. And then you look at first quarter of Game 3. You're down 39-14 after the first quarter. Yeah, you turn the ball over 29 times. I feel like aside from that, from the Boston Celtics playing horrible for some stretches, it should have been a sweep. If in a perfect world where Boston doesn't play horrible and play soft, I feel like this should have been a sweep. They were in command of all 4 games until the third quarter and then that first quarter of Game 3. But looking at it, as you mentioned, Tatum, right, his 10-point game in Game 3. and then we know he's averaging over 30 after a loss. Why does that have to come down to that? That's just my thing. That's my biggest take on how he needs to take the next step. He shouldn't just have one of these horrible performances and then he explodes. It needs to come consistently and just eliminate those performances. But yeah, I still think Boston. I think Boston's the better team. I think you look at it, they're not the better coach team, but they're the way more talented team. And I think they have the best player in the series. I'm still going with Jason Tatum over Jimmy Butler. Looking at Jimmy Butler, I don't know if he's healthy.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that too.
I just don't know if Jimmy Butler's going to be healthy enough. I hope he is. I hate all the injuries. You look at Hero, he's also battling an injury. Marcus Smart battling an injury. But I think the biggest key to this series is Robert Williams. You look at when he comes back, Bam had his 36 whatever in Game 3. Robert Williams comes back and Bam looked like an average, above average player again. So I think Bam, if we hold him down, we force everything in Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, those kind of guys, that's fine. But I think Boston is in the driver's seat because of their defensive presence. They just need to cut down the turnovers, and I think they lose the series. I don't think that he will take it. I think Boston will lose it. That's just my opinion.
If they are
to lose, I think Boston loses it. I don't think that he wins.
Is theirs to lose?
Yes,
okay.
Exactly.
Anything else, guys?
No.
Once again, thank you so much for watching another episode of 3 Guys 1 Mic. We've come a very long way here at 3 Guys 1 Mic. Just being able to get our takes off our chest, right? Being able to express ourselves. If you like what you hear, guys, like what you see, like, comment, guys, subscribe, interact with us, guys. We also love hearing from the fans. We love hearing your takes, right? It gives us something to think about, something to talk amongst ourselves.
If anything you guys get to the end of this video, just DM us anything you think we said you disagree with, you agree with, and also just kind of let us know what you think we should improve on when it comes to our
things you want to hear, things you want to hear,
Instagram, anything like that.
Anything.
Yeah. So thank you guys. Thank
Thank you guys.